Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Say his name and he appears. The man is here, live on YouTube. What is going on, guys? This is, yes, the Club of the Man 1993, and we are live here on YouTube this Sunday afternoon to talk about my review from this past Friday's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, the October 24th, 2025 edition. Took place in Tempe, Arizona, if I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. I'm not going to be too loud here right now in this review because my wife and my son are both upstairs taking a nap, so I don't want to be too loud and wake them up. If the baby wakes me up, my wife will kill me. But we're here live, talk about SmackDown. I wasn't going to do this one live originally. I was going to just record Raw and SmackDown reviews this week and next week, and then do Saturday night's main event review live. But I basically had time. I ended up putting most of the stuff together if I would need to do it for a live stream. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go live. Because I do prefer to go live. Again, SmackDown, recorded videos, again, are more so just, I don't have really the time right now. It's easier if I just record it right now and upload it whenever I'm ready. That way my thoughts are fresh and I don't, forget something, and I just don't have the effective review that I wanted. But I'd rather be live. I'd rather be talking with you guys, getting your thoughts as well and your opinions, and just having a good time. But yes, so we're going to talk about this show, this episode of SmackDown. My overall thoughts on this show, to be honest, they're kind of mixed. Because although they did a lot of things on this episode that I really liked, there's still some questions like, okay, this is going to be great, but now what's going to happen with this? Or if now we're going this direction, then why are we doing this? You know what I mean? There's some things that I'm not too sure about. There's some things, though, that I am intrigued about, such as the Jade Cargill heel turn. However, there's a couple things even with this heel turn that I kind of okay, but wait a minute, what about this and what about this? Although a heel turn for Jade Cargill I thought was very necessary. So you will be getting a turn alert in the next few days. Maybe tonight, who knows, in the next few days for Jade Cargill's heel turn. And we also are officially going to do a Shinsuke Nakamura face turn as well. I almost pulled the trigger also on the Carmelo Hayes face turn, but I'm still gonna wait just to be safe because I'm kind of convinced he's a face, but I'm not 100% convinced that he is a face. But again, we will talk about that though when we get to that later on in the show. Tyler is here joining us live. Thank you as always, Tyler, for joining. And we are going to get right into the show, and we're going to roll from there. So, the show opened up. When we get back to the top of the page here, sorry for my notes and such. So, the show opened up with Cody Rhodes backstage. And he runs into, of all people, Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy says he appreciates Cody and thanks him for what he did for his cousin last week. Cody says he was happy to do it and asks how are things with Jay. But then Jimmy asks him would we do the same in the same situation. Cody says he's got a brother, and the thing is they got to do what's best for each other. And then Jimmy says he's got to go talk to Nick Aldis. So Jimmy was there to get revenge on what happened to Jacob Fatu last week. And of course the census is they still believe that it's Drew McIntyre, the obvious suspect. But I'm going to wait till the end of the stream. Because now that Jimmy is somewhat involved, it kind of makes me wonder if there's another suspect we should be looking at for the Jacob Fatu attack last week. I'll save that for the very end, though, of who I think it could be now, of a possibility. And I'm going to post about it on my Instagram as well, and Twitter, after I get my social media pages updated. There's been a couple videos I posted that I didn't post the posts of when they got uploaded. It was a busy week, guys. But anyways, Cody Rhodes goes out, and he wants to talk about Drew McIntyre. But he also wants to mention how it was a little out of character last week when he attacked him with the title. Does he need to apologize for that? And the crowd says, no. But I'm still, wondering, why did Cody do that? If he's supposed to be, the quarterback of WWE, as they're calling him now and whatnot. But Drew comes out, does the same spew of, I don't want any excuses or any apologies. And he also gets on the crowd for booing him and cheering Cody. And basically says how Cody's like the corporate figure, whatnot, this, and that. And he's going to beat him at Saturday night's main event. Which, honestly, he better be. Drew back, again, no offense to Cody. Drew should be champion right now. Cody doesn't need the belt right now. Give it to Drew. Especially if you were going to give it to him at WrestlePalooza. But then you had to pull back because of Crown Jewel being away. Now there's no excuse. Now you gotta pull the trigger and just move forward with it. I'm hoping that's what happens. But, so, we'll see, of course, when we get to next Saturday, what happens with that. As we had 2 title matches officially be announced for Saturday night's main event. This was one of them. Second one we'll get to in a bit. But, anyways, so they keep going, and he also says how he was not the one who attacked Jacob Fatu. Now he doesn't think, now he's, of course, mentioning other things. And then, of course, whenever Cody gets accused, Cody just, flips out and says, enough talking, let's just fight. I found that a little weird, too, how Cody had nothing else to say. He just, snapped as soon as Drew mentioned that he could have been the one to attack him, who I still think they might do, but we'll go over that situation at the end. But as Cody's about to fight Drew, Jimmy Uso comes out of nowhere and attacks Drew from behind. And basically afterwards, it sets up for a match in the main event of the show with Drew McIntyre and Jimmy Uso. No disqualification. Yeah, it felt kind of out of place, of course, for this show, but we'll talk about it at the end of the show. But so we have that happen. Then we have a match between the MFTs, JC Mateo and Tama Tonga, taking on the team of Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura. So I am first off again declaring Shinsuke Nakamura as a babyface. But I'm not going to lie, not that enthusiastic about it. I still feel like the heel turn last time when Shinsuke Nakamura feuded with Seth Rollins for the world title, that was the time to go all in on Shinsuke Nakamura. Now it's just you've done this so many times. It's like the MFTs. I'm not going to get that invested unless I absolutely know something's going to happen. Basically, in order for me to care about Shinsuke again, you got to give him the world title. MFTs, I'm not sure what you got to do. Or for Solo, maybe not have him have such a brief reign with the US title, or briefly come across as dominant, then losing all your matches. Maybe I'll care. I don't know. But also, the other thing I gotta say too is, why does it still feel like Rey Fenix isn't popping as much as he should be? He doesn't have the same momentum Penta does. But he teamed up here, and the MFTs do win after pinning Rey Fenix. They gave him a win, cool, but I don't know, like I said, you still gotta do a lot more for me to care about the MFTs, if I'm being honest. We also have a backstage segment where Chelsea Green and Alba Fire are trying to recruit Julia to take Piper Niven's place in the Secret Service. But Kiana James rolls up and said, nope, Julia's too busy. She goes get ready for her match with Tiffany Stratton. And Julia even took the flyer that she got and she just tossed it aside. So we have Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. I don't get what... Okay, so first off, they had the match. And obviously we knew Tiffany was going to win. What's the big deal with Kiana James? Honestly, she's playing the role that she should be. But it also still feels like that she's really watering down Julia. Because as Women's United States Champion, Julia's been a total afterthought. Heck, I'll even say this. I'll continue to say this. Out of the 4 women's singles champions on the main roster, Becky Lynch is the most important one. Stephanie Vaquer just got the championship. She's doing what she can do right now. But Tiffany Stratton, we'll get to her in just a second. We'll talk about Tiffany Stratton. A lot of people say Tiffany Stratton has been a boring champion. My honest opinion, I don't personally think it's her that's boring. I think just more so like what she's been given to work with is boring. Because most of it's been the same thing. She's had like matches occasionally with like other people as well. But the only 2 people it feels like she's always fighting is Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. Like, and I just feel like, because when they did the whole, what do they call that little shuffle, that silent little shake up they did, a little superstar shake up they did back at the beginning of the year, the transfer window they call it or something. Whenever they did that, it just felt like they lost a lot of talent in that SmackDown Women's division. And of course, throughout the year too, some have moved over to Raw as well, like Naomi did whenever she cashed in and won the Women's World title. And I just feel like because she hasn't had much to work with, that's what's really killed her reign. But now again, you have Julia and Kiana James. And Julia's the Women's United States Champion, which that feels like a total afterthought again. And Kiana James, I don't see anything in Kiana James other than her being a manager. Her in the ring doesn't impress me much. Even before she got called up, when she got called up during the draft 2 years ago, whenever it was, I'm like, who? Because the only thing I knew Kiana James did was she was NXT Women's Tag Team Champion with Fallon Henley, and at the time they were kind of like a de facto team or something like that, where Fallon was the babyface at the time and Kiana was the heel. But you did this match, and you knew Tiffany was going to win. Also, here's the other thing too. Why is it there's some matches where whoever isn't wrestling and is in their corner is trying to cause distractions, and there's matches like this where, of course, Kiana's going to lose, and Julia didn't even try to, get involved and distract Tiffany to save her. She just let her get pinned, which was odd, because there wasn't like Kiana told Julia, don't get involved or else you're going to be fired. I don't know. It was weird. But afterwards, they were 2-on-1 attacking Tiffany Stratton. And then out comes Jade Cargill. Fights them off, picks Tiffany up, raises her arm. And then she lariats her, and then she attacks Tiffany Stratton and turns heel. Which, okay, the thing though that bothers me is they've done multiple matches again already with Tiffany and Jade. Turning Jade heel, which I'll talk about more in the Turn Alert, I think was needed for Jade, because I think that she just works so much better as a heel. As a babyface, well, maybe season after being a heel in WWE for a while will help her be a better babyface. But the way she was brought in, how they kind of made it seem like that she was getting the red carpet treatment. And they didn't rush her as fast as I thought they would, but they kind of have put her in a spot a little too soon. But now that she's a heel, which I feel like that's more of her wheelhouse, I could get a little bit more behind this. But again, the thing is, there's two things. First off, well, there's just three things here. First off, again, you've had Tiffany and Jade fight how many times? Apparently, they're having a match at Saturday Night's Main Event next Saturday. Honestly, I thought they were going to hold off till Survivor Series. Because one, Jade injured Tiffany with her ankle, like stomping onto it on the steel steps. I don't know if they're going to do a thing where, you know, Tiffany's not going to be 100% and that's how she loses the title next Saturday to Jade. I don't know. But also, like, you were just teasing a match with Tiffany and Julia. So, where's that going now? And the other thing, though, too, is, again, we'll get into this more, is Bianca Belair still is not back. And I was still convinced for the longest time, even though it was revealed that Naomi was the one who attacked Jade last fall, I still feel like Bianca had something else to do with it. But now that Jade's the heel, I guess we're not going that route for sure. Which honestly is a little disappointing. Especially because even though she's been gone since WrestleMania, well, she made an appearance as the special guest referee at Evolution, but that felt kind of pointless after she didn't really do much, even though the match was still great with Jade and Naomi. But now it's just, I don't know, just like does 2025 feel like a year of disappointments? Like, you know, they set up something like really good, and then the payoff just kind of feels meh. So that's the only other disappointment I would say. But again, for Jade's sake, this heel turn was definitely needed. I think this is was going to make her a main eventer. Backstage, though, afterwards, she was interviewed. If I can find that promo. There it goes. And Jade said, "You only face consequences when you made a mistake. And her only mistake was thinking this world rewards patience. What it rewards is power. And she's going to take it, starting with the WWE Women's Championship." And again, we get the match made official for Saturday Night's Main Event. And then we also had this was something good. I like this. Although I do have a nitpick about it though when we get to the finish. But we had Ilja Dragunov backstage runs into Sami Zayn. Sami says he didn't get a chance to congratulate him last week, but congratulations. And then Ilja says how much he respects him. And, you know, he also respects him for bringing back the open challenges that John Cena passed on to him. Now Sami Zayn tells him they're no joke, and now he's passing them on to Ilja. So Ilja Dragunov agrees to continue the U.S. Open Challenge. So he makes his way out with the theme music that I don't like. I still prefer his old one. It had an NXT UK much more. That just feels so much more powerful. You know, like the it feels like something you hear on Sesame Street. You know, it's probably a Def Rebel song, but I'm not a fan of his theme song. Anyways, he comes out and he cuts this really good promo. I don't think I've ever heard Ilja Dragunov cut too many promos, but this definitely, by far, is my favorite one he's done so far. He talks about the past year having the highs and the lows. He had points where he couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we all knew he was never going to give up. But because of the obsession he carries in his heart, he is now your new United States champion. And now, of course, he wants to continue the U.S. Open Challenge. And he finishes, I'm guessing this is going to be his new catchphrase, saying, "So tonight, friends and enemies, pain shall entertain you." Which I like that. That's very fitting for him. And the person who answers the challenge is a guy who just actually took it up a couple weeks ago against Sami Zayn. Had a fantastic match. Aleister Black. Of course, this time it's Aleister Black with his wife, Zelina Vega, by his side. I think Zelina's addition to his entrance is very cool. Very dark. And yes, again, I know this is basically what people wanted to see from Karrion Kross. I know, but still, This is also kind of Aleister Black's mojo as well, so I'm not going to go too apeshit over it. But I also enjoyed, well, first off, the match was great between Dragunov and Aleister. Get them on pay-per-view for sure. Because, again, some of these matches, although, you know, the US Open Challenge is great, the only downside is for them being defended on the weekly shows is the commercials. And I feel like these two, if you put them on pay-per-view, they'd have a very good standout match. Possibly a show stealer or match of the night contender. But it was a hard-hitting match. Again, I know Ilja Dragunov, you don't look at him and think, you know, hard hitter. But he hits hard. Again, as I always say, you gotta see him in Gunther's matches in NXT and NXT UK. That is definitely a WrestleMania caliber match someday, for sure, between the two of them. But I thought they worked very well together. And of course, Zelina Vega was constantly getting involved. Especially, of course, I loved it when she did that Hurricane on Ilja Dragunov. That just gave me so much of her vibes when she was Andrade's manager in NXT. I'm like, this feels more fitting for Zelina. But Zelina would get ejected from ringside towards the end of the match. And then, this is the only downside I will say. Well, other than the fact that, although this match was great, may have been a little too soon to have Aleister Black with him, like, you know, kind of having the character change with Zelina now by his side as in on TV. I still didn't think it was a good idea to have him lose, but of course they protected him. But they're continuing a feud that I'm kind of like, okay, it did its job. I'm kind of done with it, but there is something I think a reason why they're continuing this feud. But anyways, Damian Priest came out, and very similar to when Aleister faced Sami Zayn, Damian distracted Aleister, and Aleister lost after getting hit with a torpedo Moscow. But this is the first time we've seen Damian Priest, though, since the Last Man Standing match. And remember, Black did the fireball into his face, and then Damian attacked Aleister after the match. I hate the fact, like I said, both men need to move on to other things. This feud has run its mileage, in my opinion. But the only reason why I think they're going to continue it is now that Zelina's involved, I'm hearing rumors about some call-ups soon. And I think this is going to lead to a mixed tag match between Damian Priest teaming up with Lola Vice. Because him and Lola Vice, it's been revealed recently that him and Lola Vice are dating. But I think Lola is about to get called up. And I think they'll have a mixed tag match with the two of them taking on Aleister and Zelina. I'm assuming that's going to be a match where Zelina just eats the pin. I hate to see them lose again, but it is what it is. The women's division does need someone, and I do think Lola Vice would be a great addition for the SmackDown women's division. Heck, anybody that's close to being called up from NXT, I think SmackDown needs them more than Raw right now. Raw's women's division is in good hands. Again, SmackDown's just has no depth whatsoever at all. But we'll see if that is what it leads to. I'm probably going to have that on my Survivor Series card predictions. But we'll see what they do. But still, fantastic match for sure between Aleister Black and Ilja Dragunov. Backstage, we have Carmelo Hayes being interviewed. He knows everybody's expecting him to come out here and just berate The Miz. But as much as it hurts him to do it, he's not going to do it. He acknowledges Miz for all of his accomplishments. And he respects him for what he's accomplished. But he crossed the line with him too many times, and he also cost him his opportunity for the U.S. title, which he cannot forgive him for. He doesn't want to. You know, he says as far as he's concerned, they both cost him the U.S. title shots. They're even. So now he wants to get back on track, getting towards his destiny on SmackDown, and he feels the support of the people and owes it to them to get back to being him, which is again. I feel like that's him solidifying his face turn, but I still have that vibe, like, once he gets past, like, whatever he's doing with The Miz, even though I still hate that they broke him and The Miz up as soon as they did, I still thought they should give them the tag titles, at least. I still feel like I'm worried they might do what happened with LA Knight. Like, he was Max Dupree, and then they had him go back to LA Knight, have a match against one of the models as the face, but then go right back to being a heel. I could see that doing that with Carmelo Hayes, especially since, you know, they didn't quite go the route I thought they would go with him and The Miz. But he could be a face for all I know, and I could make that official soon. But for now, I'm going to wait and just play it safe just to see. But, but after he says that, Kit Wilson comes up and just starts rambling again. What the heck are they doing with Kit Wilson? Like, what is, like all of his segments he's had, because I think Elton Prince is hurt, so that's why Pretty Deadly hasn't been in any matches. But, what do they see in this guy? Because every time he comes on my screen, all I hear is, wah, 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 wah. Yeah, I'm basically imitating the adults in the Charlie Brown shows. But yeah, I see nothing. So I don't understand what he's supposed to be doing. But I guess next week he's going to job out the Carmelo Hayes. I guess. I don't know. Who knows? I don't get what's going on with that. But Fraxiom has a backstage. First they see Ilja Dragunov and mention how, you know, one of them's going to maybe try to take up his open challenge and whatnot. But then DIY rolls up and, you know, starts trashing on them again, teasing a match soon between them. Tama Tonga also walks by there and does his little signal and goes this, yeah. Which, why that was happening, I don't know. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair being interviewed. They're, of course, first going to acknowledge Bayley wanting to get her and Lyra a women's tag title shot. But before they can, though, here comes Nia Jax. And she's like, oh my goodness, you're all cute trying to be besties. I'm just waiting for one of you to stab the other in the back. And then Charlotte says, that's called projection, and she used to be like that, but she learned to develop healthy relationships rooted in trust, which again is exactly why I still feel like when they do come to split her and Alexa up, that's going to be Alexa going heel and not Charlotte. But Nia says she was in a friendship like that, but she learned from the best, and stares right at Alexa Bliss, because Alexa Bliss in that, oh god, that horrible bullying storyline back in 2018, it was so bad. But basically, it sets up for a match with Nia and Alexa next week. Lovely. I'm hearing rumors, well, I shouldn't say rumors, but I'm hearing stuff that Nia Jax is doing some stuff in NXT now with Lash Legend. So I don't know if this is teasing the idea of Lash Legend getting called up and her being a tag team with Nia. I got the impression back at Evolution, based off of her performance being the runner-up in the Battle Royale, I got the impression Lash Legend was going to be Naomi's muscle after Naomi won the title. But Naomi, of course, got pregnant. Baby Uso is 17 weeks away or something like that. So of course, that didn't happen there. But we'll see what happens here with this. But Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss, no thank you. And then we had the main event. Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso. No disqualification. Match was what it was. Drew wins with the Claymore. Afterwards, though, he tries to horse collar Jimmy with the chair and choke him in. But then Cody Rhodes comes out and throws Drew out the ring. They brawled for a while till they were broken up. Cody goes back in to check on Jimmy, but then Drew slides in with the Claymore on Cody, and that's how the show ended. So, here, Jimmy getting involved was kind of random, but so last week whenever this first started with the whole Who Attacked Jacob Fatu. Obviously, it's not going to be Drew McIntyre. The obvious heel is not going to be the culprit. I know there are some people who are saying that they think it's going to be Randy Orton. I think Randy is the safe choice because he's going to be turning soon the feud with Cody. Or, again, based off of, how his actions last week, and how he didn't really want to talk about it when Drew said something this week, I still get the vibe that it could be Cody. But then Jimmy got involved. And I'm like, I get that they're all both Samoans, but why of all people are you getting Jimmy Uso involved in the storyline on SmackDown when he's on Raw now? And then I thought about it, and I thought, there's another person that I'm starting to wonder if they're the one that could be revealed to attack Jacob Fatu. What if it was Jay? Because, again, Jay is going through this storyline here where he's like trying to be like what Roman was with the bloodline. And he thinks he's evolving, but he's really just like, becoming what he once hated. And what if maybe him seeing that Jacob was going to get an opportunity to fight for the world title made him feel threatened by the idea that, he may just succeed and be a better champion than me. And he could be the one to be like, at the head of the table in the family now or something like that. I'm just saying, that could be a reason, and that could be, a surprise, dark horse suspect. What if it was Jey Uso? I'm going to post about that later on Instagram and Twitter to see what you guys think about that. But yeah, I think they should go with either Cody or Jay. But I feel like they're still going to go with Randy. Which, is fine. Because, of course, Randy's had so many moments this year where I'm just like, when is he just going to snap? Because I feel like he's just due for a snap with how many things have gone wrong for him this past year. I still thought we were going to have him versus Nick Aldis at SummerSlam, but apparently not. But we'll wait and see. And that's my thoughts on SmackDown. Like I said, it was a show that had some good character development, fresh things. But again, I got some questions. And I'm not sure yet. So, it's going to be considered one of those shows where eventually I would have to probably come back and rewatch the show to regrade it. But for now, I wouldn't give it a B. Because it wasn't all that bad. It's just like, I'm not sure where some of these things are going. Or like how some of these other things that should have happened are going to happen. But that's all I got to say about SmackDown, guys. Tyler just said in the live chat, how many heels do we need? We have a ton right now, that's for sure. And Money in the Bank is cursed. I guess because of both Money in the Bank holders either getting hurt or getting pregnant and having to go on leave for a bit and relinquish the championships. Both of them are, of course, the SmackDown, the Raw titles, but, whatever. But, yeah, that is my review again of SmackDown, guys. I gave the show a B. What are your guys' thoughts on SmackDown this week? Do you also agree as well that some of the stuff is like, this is good, but there was also this, or let's wait and see where this goes. Leave your thoughts again down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. You also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. And I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!